we're all, of course, looking forward to Rosh Hashanah, and we're all, of course, living in fear of Rosh Hashanah. And that's to be expected. That's the nature of Rosh Hashanah. But when we get to shul this coming Shabbos, we're not going to blow shofar. And that's no small thing. The fact that Chazal came and canceled shofar is something, that should bother us. It should bother us for two reasons, although we're only going to speak about one of them. One is, where did Chazal get the authority to cancel a mitzvah d'oraisa, and not just any mitzvah d'oraisa, to cancel a mitzvah of shofar on Rosh Hashanah? Okay, that's a discussion. And that's an interesting discussion, and that leads into the fascinating question of, what if we blew shofar anyway? Right? Rav Akiva Eger thinks if we blew shofar, we'd get the mitzvah. Certainly we'd get the mitzvah d'oraisa. Okay, but that's the interplay of d'rabbanans and d'oraisas. That's not what we want to talk about today. We want to talk about the hashkafic idea behind it. What in the world would have motivated Chazal to cancel Tkiyas shofar? So we all know there are three mitzvahs that Chazal canceled when they fall out on Shabbos. One of them is Megillah. Okay, but that's easy. Megillah is only d'rabbanan. Hey mamru v'hei mamru. They made up the mitzvah. They canceled the mitzvah. Fine. Lulav, similar. What do I mean by similar? Lulav is a mitzvah on Sukkot. It's true. But they didn't cancel sitting in a sukkah. And Chazal didn't make Gzeira. Well, some people have a sukkah in Rishus Harabim, and maybe they'll carry from their homes on Shabbos, on Sukkah, Shechol Yos b'Shabbos, and that'll be an Issur D'Oraisa. We don't find that. But we find with respect to shofar, no. Chazal made a Gzeira, Atu Rishus Harabim. You might carry a shofar Dal Amos Rishus Harabim. Why? Because you don't know how to blow shofar. You'll take it to somebody to teach you, and you'll be over the Issur D'Oraisa of Hotza'ah. And we think to ourselves, really? What a chashash rechoka. First of all, very few of us actually live in Rishus Harabim. And second of all, not just that, most of us live in a place with an Eruv. Why didn't somebody come at some point and say, well, okay, they canceled shofar back then because it was a real risk. But nowadays, we live with an Eruv. Why not? Let's blow shofar. The Gzeira doesn't really apply anymore. Okay? What I want to try to answer is the simple question of, what would have motivated Chazal? I mean, shofar is so important. It's so magical. In fact, I'll give you two examples. There's a psikta de Rav Kahana with respect to Rosh Hashanah that tells us as follows. Pasach as follows. Allah Elokim bitrua. Says the Medrash. Bisha'a she'akadosh baruch hu oleh v'yoshev al kisei hadin bidin hu oleh. Allah Elokim bitrua. Elokim, we know, is midas hadin. Dichsiv, okay, Allah Elokim bitrua. Uvisha'a she'Yisrael notlin shofarot. V'tokin. But the second we take a shofar and we blow it, Hakadosh Baruch Hu omeid mi kisei din v'yoshev al kisei rachamim. Shenemar Hashem b'kol shofar. The Shem Hashem, as opposed to the Shem Elokim, is midas harachamim. It's an unbelievable thing. Where do we find this? That as a reward for a Maisa HaMitzvah that we do, God, Kiviyachol, gets up off of the throne of justice, where we would have no chance, and moves to the throne of mercy, where we have a better chance, where everything that happens on Rosh Hashanah, gives us a chance to get Slicha, Mechila, and Kapara. To cancel that for some remote possibility of Shema Yavirenu Dalet Amos B'Shus Harabim doesn't make any sense. It should bother us. Similarly, the Medrash says, Kol Shana She'enan Tokin B'Tchilatan Miri'in B'Sofa. If you don't blow at the beginning of a year, something bad is going to happen at the end of the year. Meaning, shofar is not just a mitzvah. Shofar is a school and a Kabbalah, and it's the nature of the day, Yom Truah. And Chazal just canceled that. And that says Darshani. That we have to try to explain. Rav Amital, I think this is Rav Amital Zatzal's idea. I'm pretty sure, so I'll say it in his name. If not, it's somebody else's idea. Rav Amital often talked about there's something beyond the Maisa HaMitzvah. The Maisa HaMitzvah is to blow shofar. But what's beyond the Maisa HaMitzvah? A pasuk in last week's parsha. La'ahavo et Hashem Elokecha lishma b'kol u'ledavka bo. Right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu is behind every Maisa HaMitzvah. What does this mean? There's a strange Mishnah at the end of Rosh Hashanah. We all know it, but we don't spend that much time thinking what it's doing in Rosh Hashanah. The Mishnah says with respect to the war with Amalek, Vaya kasher yarim Moshe yado v'gavar Yisrael, v'kasher yaneach Moshe yado v'gavar Amalek. Okay? What, Moshe's arms are magic? When his arms are up, then we win the war. When his arms are down, we lose the war? No, says the Mishnah, V'chi yadav shal Moshe osot milchama, o shovrot milchama. Does his arms do magic? No. Ela lo ma'lecha. Kol zman shehayu Yisrael mistaklin klape malo mishavdim es libam lavim shavah shamayim. Moshe's arms are just a means. They're just a symbol. When they look to Moshe's arms and they think, who's really running the war? It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then they win. When they don't look at Moshe's arms, then they lose. On that Mishnah, the Rambam in the Parashat Mishnayos goes out of his way to say, Kol ze barur lefi ma shetzarich kan be'inyan she'anachnu po ulefi matarat hasefer. Says the Rambam, this Mishnah is in its proper place. You might think it's a strange thing, but it's not a strange thing. Satam velo piresh. He didn't explain what he meant. So what's he really saying? Says Rav Amital Zatzal, the same idea with Moshe is the same idea with Tkiyah Shofar. Tkiyah Shofar has all these segulos and all these kabbalos and has this magic element to it. And at some point, said Chazal, people are so focused on the Maisa HaMitzvah, they're forgetting. Va'ani kirvat Elokim li tov. I'm supposed to love HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm supposed to love his mitzvahs also. But sometimes the mitzvah is so powerful, we hide behind it. We think, if Rav Bick blows shofar and it's a great job this year, everything will be great. Rav Bick will be great. But what about us? I think, says Rav Amital thinks that Chazal canceled shofar. How often does Rosh Hashanah fall out on Shabbos? Every few years, Chazal said, you know what? Klal Yisrael, this year, figure it out for yourselves. Figure out how you're going to connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu without shofar. First of all, let's point out the obvious. They didn't really cancel shofar. Rosh Hashanah is a 2-day holiday. Every single year, there's going to be shofar on Rosh Hashanah, and the answer to the medrash of, you have to blow at the beginning, otherwise something bad will happen at the end of the year, we're going to blow at the beginning of the year. Okay, not Aleph Tishrei this year, we'll blow on Bet Tishrei. But the fact of the matter is that on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, when we come to shul, we have to find a way to fill in the gap that's going to exist. We're not going to blow shofar. Chazal said, not so much don't blow shofar. Chazal said, find a way that's not shofar. Have extra kavanah. Daven more slowly. All the different things that we do. Feel more deeply. Imagine yourself to be sitting in the presence or standing in the presence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. There's all these things we could do to make up for the fact that we're not blowing shofar this year. And that's what we have to do, and that's the lesson. Chazal canceled shofar not because it's not important enough, because it's too important. And every once in a while we have to be reminded of the fact that it's not the Maisa HaMitzvah, it's the Mitzvah HaMitzvah. At the end of the day, it's not shofar, it's HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's Va'ani kirvat Elokim li tov. Being in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's presence is what matters the most, and that's what we need to focus on this year on the first day of Rosh Hashanah. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach, and K'tiva v'Chatima Tova to all.